Hey everyone, welcome back to Real Life English. Have you ever noticed that you use the same English words again and again?
Maybe you always say words like I think, very, okay, or me too. These words are correct, but sometimes they can make your English sound repetitive.
Today, we're going to learn better ways to express your ideas and feelings. We'll take some very common English words and replace them with more natural expressions.
And don't worry, we're not learning difficult vocabulary today. These are simple expressions that native speakers use in everyday conversations.
Small changes can make a big difference. When you have more ways to express yourself, your English will sound more natural.
So get ready because today we're going to stop saying some basic English words and start speaking in a more natural way.
Let's begin with one of the most common phrases English learners use every day. I think.
Actually, I think we use I think all the time.
Exactly. And there is nothing wrong with saying I think. Native speakers use it too.
But if every opinion starts with I think, your conversations may sound a little repetitive. Today we'll learn some other expressions that can make your English more flexible.
Imagine we are sitting in a coffee shop and talking about our weekend plans.
Sounds good. Let's have a real conversation first.
Emma, this coffee shop is really nice. I think we should come here more often.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is one of the best coffee shops in our neighborhood.
We used I think twice in just a few seconds.
That happens a lot when people are learning English. They learn one useful phrase and then they use it everywhere.
Exactly. I think is useful because it helps us share opinions. For example, I think this movie's interesting.
Or, I think this restaurant has great food.
But native speakers have many other ways to share their thoughts. The first one is I guess.
How is I guess different from I think?
I guess means you have an idea or opinion, but you are not completely sure. It sounds more casual and relaxed.
So if I say, I guess he is busy today, I'm not 100% sure, but I have a feeling that he's busy.
Exactly. Maybe you saw that he didn't answer your message, or maybe he told you he had a lot of work.
So, I guess is perfect when you are making a small guess based on information you have.
Right. For example, I guess we can leave a little earlier tomorrow.
That sounds natural because you are making a suggestion, not giving a strong decision.
Let's try another example. Instead of saying, I think she doesn't like coffee.
You can say, I guess she doesn't like coffee.
Good. It sounds softer and more conversational.
Another very common expression is I feel like.
I hear people say, I feel like a lot. How do we use it?
We use I feel like when we talk about our feelings, preferences, or personal opinions.
So instead of saying, I think I want to watch a movie tonight,
You can say, I feel like watching a movie tonight.
that sounds much more natural.
Yes, native speakers often use I feel like when they talk about what they want to do.
For example, I feel like eating something sweet.
Or I feel like going for a walk after dinner.
These sentences sound friendly and casual.
Let's look at another example. Imagine your friend asks, what do you want to do this weekend?
Instead of saying, I think I want to stay home.
You can say, I feel like staying home this weekend.
Great! It sounds like a real conversation between friends.
The third expression is, in my opinion.
This one sounds a little more formal than I think.
Right. We use in my opinion when we want to clearly introduce our personal view.
For example, in my opinion, learning English every day is the best way to improve.
Or, in my opinion, this restaurant has the best coffee in town.
It's useful when you are having a deeper conversation or sharing a serious idea.
So today we learned 3 better ways to replace I think.
I guess when you are not completely sure.
I feel like when you talk about your feelings, preferences, or impressions.
And in my opinion, when you want to clearly share your personal viewpoint.
Remember, you don't need to completely stop saying I think.
The goal is to have more choices and make your English sound more natural.
Now, let's move on to another phrase that many English learners use every day. Me too.
Emma, I heard you went hiking last weekend. How was it?
It was great. I really enjoyed being outside and spending time in nature.
That sounds nice. I love hiking too.
Me too. I always feel relaxed when I'm walking in the mountains.
Did you notice that we just used a very common expression in English?
Yes, me too is a simple way to say that you have the same feeling, opinion, or experience as someone else.
For example, if someone says, I love coffee, you can say, me too.
Or if someone says, I'm excited about the weekend, you can say, me too.
It's short, easy, and completely correct.
But many English learners use me too for almost every situation when they agree with someone.
The problem is not the expression itself. The problem is using the same expression again and again.
Native speakers have many other natural ways to show agreement.
Let's look at some expressions that can make your conversations sound more interesting.
The first one is, same here.
Same here means I feel the same way or I have the same experience.
It is very common in casual conversations with friends, family, and coworkers.
For example, imagine your friend says, I'm really tired today.
Instead of saying, me too, you can say, same here. I didn't sleep well last night either.
That sounds natural because you're sharing the same experience.
Here's another example.
I really enjoy spending time with my family on weekends.
Same here. Weekends are my favorite time because I can relax and enjoy my free time.
Great! Same here is simple, friendly, and easy to use.
The next expression is, I feel the same way.
This expression is a little longer, but it is useful when you want to show that you understand someone's feelings.
For example, someone says, learning a new language can be difficult sometimes.
You can say, I feel the same way. I also feel nervous when I try something new.
This expression shows that you don't just agree with the words, you understand the person's feelings.
Let's try another example.
I think speaking English in front of other people can be scary.
I feel the same way. I was nervous when I first started speaking English.
That sounds more personal than simply saying me too.
Exactly. It helps you build a stronger connection during a conversation.
The third expression is so do I.
So do I has the same meaning as me too, but we usually use it after a positive sentence.
For example,
I like reading books before bed.
so do I.
I enjoy cooking for my family.
So do I.
I usually listen to music when I work.
So do I. It helps me focus.
This expression sounds natural and slightly more complete than me too.
It is especially useful when you want to practice different sentence patterns.
Now, let's talk about agreeing with negative sentences.
Many learners know how to say me too, but they are not sure what to say when the sentence is negative.
For example, someone says, I don't like waking up early.
You cannot say me too because that sounds like you like waking up early.
Instead, you should say, me neither.
Me neither means I also don't like it, or I have the same negative feeling.
For example,
I don't enjoy crowded places.
me neither. I prefer quiet places where I can relax.
Another example.
I don't like studying late at night.
Me neither. I get tired very quickly.
This small difference is very important because it changes the meaning of your sentence.
Let's practice replacing me too with more natural expressions.
I love traveling and exploring new places.
Same here. I always feel excited when I visit somewhere new.
I think learning English takes a lot of patience.
I feel the same way. It takes time, but it is worth it.
I enjoy watching movies in English.
So do I. It's a fun way to practice listening.
I don't like rainy days.
Me neither. I always feel happier when the weather is sunny.
Remember, me too is not a bad expression.
It is still one of the most useful phrases in English.
The goal is not to stop using simple expressions. The goal is to have more choices.
When you know different ways to agree with people, your conversations become more natural and interesting.
Small changes like these can help you feel more confident when speaking English.
And the more expressions you learn, the easier it becomes to have real conversations.
Next, we're going to talk about one of the most common words in English, very. Emma, I went to a new restaurant yesterday. The food was very good and the service was very nice.
You used very twice in one sentence.
I know, but I think many English learners do the same thing because very is such a useful word.
Exactly. Very is not wrong at all. Native speakers use it too. It helps us make descriptions stronger.
But when we use very before every adjective, our English can sound a little repetitive.
Right. Instead of adding very all the time, native speakers often choose stronger and more specific words.
That sounds interesting. So instead of saying very good, what can we say?
We can say amazing, excellent, fantastic, or wonderful.
Let's look at some real examples.
Instead of saying, the movie was very good, you can say, the movie was amazing.
The meaning is stronger because amazing already includes the idea of very good.
Another example.
Instead of saying the view was very beautiful, you can say the view was breathtaking.
Breathtaking means something is so beautiful or impressive that it surprises you. For example, the view from the top of the mountain was breathtaking.
That sentence creates a much clearer picture than the view was very beautiful.
The next common phrase is very tired.
Many people say, I'm very tired after work.
That is correct, but native speakers often say, I'm exhausted.
Exhausted means extremely tired, usually because you used a lot of energy or worked very hard.
For example, I worked for 10 hours today. I'm exhausted.
Or we walked around the city all day and now we're exhausted.
It gives people a stronger feeling about your situation.
Now let's talk about very happy.
Instead of saying, I'm very happy, you can say, I'm thrilled.
Thrilled means extremely excited and happy about something.
For example, I got tickets to my favorite singer's concert. I'm thrilled.
Or she finally got her dream job. She's thrilled. Another natural expression is, I'm so excited.
We use this when we are looking forward to something in the future.
For example, I'm so excited about my vacation next month.
That sounds much more natural than saying, I'm very happy about my vacation.
Let's look at another everyday expression, very hungry.
If you say, I'm very hungry, everyone understands you.
But in casual conversations, native speakers often say, I'm starving.
Starving literally means dying from hunger, but in daily English, it usually means you are extremely hungry.
For example, I skipped lunch today. I'm starving.
Or, let's find a restaurant. I'm starving.
Now, let's learn some quick replacements that you can use every day.
Instead of saying very good, try amazing, excellent, or fantastic.
Instead of saying very bad, try terrible or awful.
Instead of saying very big, try huge.
Instead of saying very small, try tiny.
Instead of saying very smart, try brilliant.
Instead of saying very surprised, try shocked.
These words help you express your feelings more clearly and naturally.
Let's practice using them in real conversations.
Leo, have you seen the new movie everyone is talking about?
Yes, I watched it yesterday. It was amazing.
Was it really that good?
Yes, the story was interesting and the ending was brilliant.
Nice. I should watch it this weekend.
Here's another example.
How was your trip to the beach?
It was fantastic. The weather was perfect and the ocean view was beautiful.
Notice that you didn't say very good or very beautiful.
Right. I chose words that describe my feelings more specifically.
This is an important habit for English learners.
You don't need to learn hundreds of difficult words to sound natural.
Start with a few simple replacements and practice using them in your daily conversations.
The next time you want to say very good, try amazing.
The next time you want to say very tired, try exhausted.
The next time you want to say very hungry, try starving.
Small changes can make your English sound more natural.
When you have more ways to express yourself, conversations become easier and more enjoyable.
And remember, very is not a bad word. You can still use it when it feels right.
The goal is not to avoid simple words completely. The goal is to build a bigger collection of natural expressions.
Now let's continue with another simple word that English learners use every day. Okay.
This word is easy to understand, and we use it every day when we agree, accept something, or respond to someone.
I think okay might be one of the most common English words in the world.
Yes, we use it in many different situations. For example, someone asks, "Are you ready?" And you say, "Okay."
Or someone gives you information and you reply, okay, I understand.
Okay is useful, but just like the other words we learned today, using it too much can make your conversation sound repetitive.
Native speakers often choose different expressions depending on the situation.
Let's start with a real conversation.
Leo, can you help me move this table tomorrow?
Okay, I can help you.
That sounds correct, but there are many other natural ways to respond.
For example, we can say, "Sure."
Sure is a very common way to say yes. It sounds friendly and natural.
For example,
Can you send me that file later?
"Sure, I'll send it to you this afternoon."
Another example,
Would you like to come with us for dinner?
sure, I'd love to.
Sure is especially common when friends ask you for something.
The next expression is sounds good.
We use sounds good when we agree with a plan or suggestion.
For example,
How about meeting at the coffee shop at 3 p.m.?
sounds good. See you there.
It means I like this idea, or this plan works for me.
Another example,
Let's watch a movie tonight.
sounds good. What movie do you want to watch?
This expression is very natural in everyday conversations.
You will hear native speakers use it when making plans with friends, coworkers, or family members.
Another useful expression is that works.
That works means a plan or idea is acceptable for you.
For example,
How about Friday evening?
that works for me.
Or,
Can we meet after lunch?
that works. I'll see you then.
This expression is very common at work because it sounds polite and professional.
Let's compare these expressions.
If someone asks, "Can you help me tomorrow?"
You can say, sure.
If someone suggests a plan, you can say, "Sounds good."
If someone suggests a time or option that is okay for you, you can say, that works.
These expressions have similar meanings, but they are used in slightly different situations.
Now let's talk about another common use of okay.
Sometimes we say okay when we understand information.
For example,
The meeting starts at 9 tomorrow morning.
okay, I'll be there.
That's fine, but you can also say, "Got it."
Got it means I understand, or I know what you mean.
It sounds very natural in casual conversations.
For example,
Please remember to bring your passport tomorrow.
got it. I'll put it in my bag tonight.
Another example.
The first step is creating an account, and then you can start using the app.
Got it. That makes sense.
This is a very common phrase in real conversations.
Now let's look at another situation.
Imagine your friend tells you some good news.
I got a new job offer today.
Okay.
That response is not wrong, but it doesn't show much emotion.
Instead, you can say, that's great.
Or, "That's awesome."
These expressions show excitement and interest.
For example,
I finally finished my project.
"That's great. Congratulations."
Or,
"I'm going on vacation next month."
That's awesome. Where are you going?
Notice how these responses help continue the conversation.
Good conversations are not only about answering, they are also about showing interest.
Let's practice replacing okay.
Someone asks you for help.
Can you help me with this?
Sure, I'd be happy to help.
Someone suggests a plan.
Let's meet for coffee tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Someone gives you information.
The store closes at 8 p.m.
Got it. Thanks for letting me know.
Someone shares good news.
I passed my English test.
That's great. Congratulations.
Remember, okay is still a useful word.
The goal is not to remove simple words from your English.
The goal is to learn more natural choices and know when to use them.
When you have more expressions, your conversations become smoother.
Even small changes can help you sound more confident and natural.
Next, we'll look at another basic word that English learners use all the time. Good. We use good all the time.
We say good job, good idea, good food, and good movie.
Good is a useful word, but sometimes it is too general. It does not always show exactly how we feel.
Native speakers often choose more specific words to describe people, things, and experiences.
Let's start with a common situation.
Emma, how was your dinner last night?
It was good. The food was good, and the restaurant was good too.
That sounds okay, but you used good 3 times.
I know. It's easy to do because good works in many situations.
But we can make our English more interesting by choosing better words.
Let's look at some common examples.
First, instead of saying good food, you can say delicious.
Delicious means food tastes very good. It is one of the most common words to describe food.
For example, this pasta is delicious.
Or, the cake you made is delicious. I love it.
Another word you can use is tasty.
Tasty is more casual and often used in everyday conversations.
For example, this sandwich is really tasty.
Now let's look at good job.
Many people say good job when someone does something well.
That's correct, but there are other natural expressions.
You can say well done.
Well done means someone did something successfully or performed very well.
For example,
I finished my first English presentation today.
well done. That's a big achievement.
You can also say nice work.
Nice work sounds friendly and encouraging.
For example,
I finally fixed my computer.
nice work. That must have taken a lot of time.
These expressions are great because they show more emotion than simply saying good job.
Now let's talk about good idea.
This is another phrase we use very often.
Instead of saying that's a good idea, you can say that's a great idea.
Or, that sounds perfect.
These expressions show stronger agreement and excitement.
For example,
Why don't we practice English together every morning?
that's a great idea. We can help each other improve.
Another example.
Let's cook dinner together tonight.
That sounds perfect. I'll buy the ingredients.
Now, let's look at good movie.
If you say the movie was good, people understand you.
But if you really enjoyed it, you can say the movie was amazing.
Or the movie was excellent.
For example,
Did you watch the new action movie?
yes, I did. It was excellent. The story was exciting and the actors were great.
Notice that specific words give more information.
When you say good, people know you liked it, but they don't know how much you liked it.
Stronger words help people understand your feelings better.
Let's practice replacing good with more natural expressions.
This restaurant has good food.
This restaurant has delicious food.
You did a good job on your project.
You did a great job on your project.
That's a good idea.
That's a great idea.
The movie was good.
The movie was amazing.
The weather is good today.
The weather is beautiful today.
These small changes can make your English sound more colorful.
But remember, you don't need to replace good every single time.
Sometimes good is exactly the right word. The important thing is having more choices.
When you have different ways to express the same idea, you can choose the word that matches your feeling.
Let's try one more real conversation.
Leo, how was your English class today?
It was good.
Can you make that answer more specific?
Sure. It was excellent. The teacher explained everything clearly and I learned a lot.
Great. That answer gives much more information.
Another example.
How was your weekend?
It was amazing. I spent time with my friends and tried something new.
Perfect. You didn't just say good, you explained your feeling.
Learning natural English is not only about learning more words, it is also about choosing better words.
The next time you want to say good, stop for a second and think about the exact feeling you want to express.
Is it delicious? Is it amazing? Is it excellent? Is it a great idea?
The more specific your words are, the more natural your English will sound.
These small improvements can help you communicate more clearly and confidently.
Next, we're going to look at another common phrase English learners use when they talk about their feelings. I don't know.
Emma, what do you think about this new restaurant? Do you want to try it this weekend?
I don't know. Maybe it's good, but I'm not sure.
That's a very common answer. I don't know is one of the first expressions English learners use.
Yes, we use it when we don't have an answer or we are not sure about something.
For example, someone asks, "What time does the store close?"
You can say, I don't know.
That's completely correct. But in real conversations, native speakers often use different expressions depending on the situation.
Let's learn some more natural ways to say I don't know.
The first one is, "I'm not sure."
I'm not sure means you don't have enough information or confidence to give an answer.
It sounds a little softer and more polite than "I don't know."
For example,
Do you know where Leo is?
I'm not sure. Maybe he's still at work.
Another example.
Do you think this movie will be good?
I'm not sure, but I heard good things about it.
This expression is very useful because sometimes you have an idea, but you don't know the answer completely.
The second expression is, "Let me think."
We use this when we need some time to find an answer.
For example,
What should we buy for Emma's birthday?
let me think. Maybe we can get her a book.
It sounds natural because you are showing that you are trying to answer.
Another example.
What's the best way to learn English?
Let me think. I think practicing every day is important.
Notice that let me think doesn't mean you don't know. It means you need a moment to organize your thoughts.
The third expression is, "I have no idea."
This expression means you really don't know the answer.
It is stronger than "I don't know."
For example,
Who left this message on my phone?
I have no idea.
Or,
How did they finish this project so quickly?
I have no idea. It's amazing.
We often use this expression in casual conversations with friends.
But remember, it can sound too strong in some situations.
For example, at work, I'm not sure may sound more polite than I have no idea.
Let's compare these expressions.
If you have no information, you can say, I don't know.
If you are unsure but have some ideas, say, "I'm not sure."
If you need time to think, say, let me think.
If you really have no answer, say, "I have no idea."
Now let's practice with some real situations.
What time is the next bus?
I'm not sure. Let's check the schedule.
What should we eat for dinner tonight?
Let me think. Maybe we can cook something at home.
Who is that person over there?
I have no idea. I've never seen him before.
Great! These expressions are simple, but they make your conversation sound much more natural.
Another useful expression is, that's a good question.
We use this when someone asks something difficult or interesting.
It gives you time to think, and it also shows respect to the person asking.
For example,
How can we become fluent in English quickly?
that's a good question. I think practice and patience are both important.
This sounds much better than immediately saying, I don't know.
Exactly. Good communication is not only about knowing the answer, it is also about responding naturally.
Let's review today's expressions.
Instead of always saying, I don't know, try, I'm not sure.
If you need time, say, let me think.
If you really don't know anything about something, say, I have no idea.
And when someone asks an interesting question, try, that's a good question.
These small changes can help your English sound smoother and more confident.
The next time someone asks you something in English, don't always answer with, I don't know.
Try one of these expressions and make your conversation more natural.
Next, we'll look at another common word English learners use when talking about their interests, like.
Like is one of the most useful words in English. We use it when we talk about things we enjoy. For example, I like coffee, I like music, or I like traveling.
These sentences are simple and correct, but there are many other natural ways to talk about your interests.
Native speakers often choose different expressions depending on how strongly they feel about something.
Let's start with a simple conversation.
Emma, what do you like to do in your free time?
I like watching movies and listening to music.
That's a good answer, but we can make it sound more natural and interesting.
The first expression is I'm into.
I'm into means you're interested in something or you enjoy doing something.
It is very common in casual conversations.
For example,
I'm into photography these days.
this means photography is something you are interested in right now.
Another example.
What kind of music are you into?
I'm into pop music, but I also enjoy jazz.
This question sounds much more natural than asking, what music do you like? Both are correct, but what are you into sounds more like everyday conversation.
Another useful expression is I'm a big fan of.
We use this when we really like something or someone.
For example, I'm a big fan of this restaurant.
This means you really enjoy the food and experience there.
Another example, I'm a big fan of this singer. I listen to her songs every day.
It shows a stronger feeling than simply saying, I like this singer. Let's compare them.
I like basketball means you enjoy basketball.
I'm into basketball means basketball is one of your interests.
I'm a big fan of basketball means you really love it.
These small differences help you express your feelings more clearly.
Another natural expression is I enjoy.
I enjoy is a little more formal than I like, but it is still very common in everyday English.
For example, I enjoy cooking for my family.
I enjoy learning new languages. I enjoy spending time with my friends.
This expression focuses on the experience and the happiness you get from something.
Now, let's practice using these expressions in real conversations.
Leo, what do you usually do after work?
I like watching videos online.
Can you make that answer sound more natural?
Sure, I'm into watching videos online after work.
Great. It sounds more like a casual conversation.
Here's another one.
Do you like cooking?
Yes, I do. Actually, I'm a big fan of cooking. I try new recipes on weekends.
Nice. That tells us more about your interests.
Now, let's look at another situation. Sometimes we use like when we talk about people.
For example, I like my new teacher.
That's correct, but you can also say, I really like my new teacher.
Or, I think my new teacher is great.
These expressions show more emotion and give more information.
Now let's talk about something many learners say.
I like it.
This sentence is useful, but sometimes it is too general.
Imagine your friend shows you a new phone.
You say, I like it.
That's okay, but you can say,
I love it.
it's awesome.
It looks amazing.
These responses sound more natural because they show your real reaction.
Let's review some alternatives.
Instead of saying, I like sports, try, I'm into sports.
Instead of saying, I like this movie, try, I'm a big fan of this movie.
Instead of saying, I like cooking, try, I enjoy cooking.
Instead of saying, I like it, try, I love it, or it's amazing.
Remember, like is not a bad word.
It is still one of the most important words in English.
The goal is to have more choices so you can express different levels of interest.
When you know more expressions, your conversations become more natural and interesting.
Start with 1 or 2 new phrases and use them in your daily English.
Small changes can help you become a more confident English speaker.
Next, we'll learn another common expression that English learners use when they react to information. Really.
Leo, I heard you tried that new coffee shop downtown yesterday.
Yes, I did. The coffee was really good, and the place had a really nice atmosphere.
You just used really twice in one sentence.
I know. It's such a common word that sometimes we don't even notice how often we use it.
Exactly. Really is useful, but there are many other ways to react and describe things in English.
For example, when someone tells you surprising news, you don't always have to say, really,
Right, you can say, wow, to show surprise.
or no way when something is hard to believe.
And if you want to check if something is true, you can say, are you serious?
These expressions make your reactions sound more natural and emotional.
Let's imagine we are talking with a friend.
I finally finished my first big work project.
Wow, that's amazing. You must feel proud.
I met my favorite singer at the airport yesterday.
No way. That's so exciting.
I'm thinking about moving to another country next year.
Are you serious? That's a big decision.
Notice how these responses feel more like real conversations.
Yes, when we talk with people, we don't just share information, we also show our feelings.
That's why learning different reactions is so important.
And remember, really is still a great expression.
Native speakers use it all the time.
The goal is not to stop using simple words. The goal is to have more choices when you speak.
When you have different expressions, you can choose the one that matches your feeling.
And that helps your English sound more natural.
I think small changes like these can make a big difference.
Definitely. You don't need to change everything overnight.
Just choose 1 or 2 new expressions from today and try using them in your next English conversation.
The more you practice, the easier natural English will become.
Thanks for spending time with us today.
We hope this lesson helps you speak English with more confidence.
If you learned the new expression today, share it in the comments. We'd love to know which one you want to use first.
And don't forget to keep practicing your English every day.
See you next time on Real Life English.
Bye, everyone.